Peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Raji Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in, being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. First, let's talk about those two Black Tennessee lawmakers that have been officially expelled from the House of Representatives down in the state legislature of Tennessee. We'll talk about all of the many dynamics and, of course, the big one being race. We'll have that conversation. And then later on, let's talk about what Black people are saying in a recent survey that says that hard work is not necessarily the key to success and upward mobility for Black folks. Yeah, we'll have that conversation. Also, Baily has decided to delete Twitter because she says that it has become toxic and it was changing how she saw herself. We'll have a conversation about self-image and social media. Stay with us. A lot to get to on today's edition of The Pulse right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Raji Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and happy Friday. We got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right into it. The big conversation that people are talking about around the country is the expulsion of two Black Tennessee lawmakers, two lawmakers who were expelled after a House GOP-controlled legislature decided to remove the Black lawmakers for a protest for gun reform and gun control because of the recent mass shooting in Nashville where three people, three children, and three adults were shot and killed. Now, as a result of the lawmakers deciding to voice their concern and to press the state legislature to do something about guns, they were considered to be unruly and they were removed from the state legislature. Now, this has been a national conversation, folks. And let me just go and tell you that at the end of the day, what we're looking at is something that is a reminder of just how far we have not gone in this country when we're looking at the conversation around gun control and, of course, the conversation around race. Now, because the fact that these were two Black lawmakers, there was actually a third lawmaker, a 60-year-old woman by the name of Representative Gloria Johnson. She was a part of what they are calling now the Tennessee Three, where she also stood up to speak out for gun reform and gun control. However, she was not expelled by the House GOP. Now, here's the crazy part, folks. The House GOP, the chairman of the House chair, Mr. Jim Faison, Representative Faison, excuse me, he went on CNN to report the fact that the House GOP decided to make a move on these two Black lawmakers because they felt like they were causing a disturbance on the House floor. Now, when he was asked about going to the ethics committee, he said that they just simply bypassed the ethics committee, that they felt like the best course of action for them to take was to talk amongst themselves and to make the final decision that these two Black lawmakers were a problem. Now, we can't forget the fact that Justin Pearson, one of the Black lawmakers out of Memphis, Tennessee, this is the same young brother who was criticized and scrutinized because he refused to wear a what they call adhere to the dress code on the House floor. He refused to wear a suit when he was officiating taking care of some of the business of the people for the state of Tennessee. And he got into some hot water on that. Y'all remember we had a conversation about former Representative Justin Pearson. So he had a target on his back along with former Representative Justin Jones of Nashville. Folks, I want to jump into the conversation with you. And let me just share this with you. This is coming out of CNN. Let me share with you, and we're going to go to quote number 2 here, Keenan. Well, I want to share with you what was the reason that they decided to move forward with this expulsion, what was said in the resolution. According to the resolution, take a look here, folks. According to the expulsion resolution, Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson began shouting without recognition during their protests and proceeded to disrupt the proceedings of the House of Representatives. Now, all three have been accused by Republicans of knowingly and intentionally bringing disorder and dishonor to the House of Representatives after they led a gun control protest on the House floor last month without being recognized. And this was reported by the CNN affiliate. Now, so they are looking at the fact that they were doing a whole bunch of shouting and being disruptive, not even looking at the larger picture that you just experienced a mass shooting. How about why shouldn't we shout about a mass shooting that included the killing of children at a Christian school? Okay, this is supposed to be the party of Christian values. This is supposed to be the party of family values. But you're more concerned about the lawmakers who bring up the point than you are about the guns who are taking away our children's lives. Okay, we're going to have that. That's a different conversation. All right, I want to hear from you, Cruz. Join us in the conversation today. You can post your thoughts on our YouTube stream as we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook. I would love to connect with you. And of course, we're streaming live on blackstarnetwork.com as well as Amazon News. But there are so many different layers to this whole conversation that I think that it is appropriate that we try to look at this from as many different angles as possible, because it is the fact about when you start talking about gun control in this country, there are some people who are going to push back on it. When you're talking about gun reform laws, there are some people that are going to push back on this. And what's the pushback for? Y'all remember when I shared with you that picture of Representative Ogles, who was standing with his family for a Christmas photo, and he was holding a semi-automatic rifle. What? But the moment that we start to have a conversation about gun control, there are folks, particularly, and we gotta call it the way it is, particularly among the GOP, that they start getting into their feelings, and next thing you know, they're pushing back against this idea. So there is a lot to be said about this whole situation and what's going to happen. Now, the other thing very quickly is the big question that people are asking is what's going to happen next? Well, right now, according to the Tennessee House of Representatives, they have actually been on the website for the General Assembly of Tennessee. There is a symbol of the vacant seats that now need to be filled. So you're talking about 140,000 Tennessee residents who do not have representation today as a result of this expulsion from yesterday. And so now the county commissioner will have to decide how they're going to move forward and either hosting a special election and essentially getting someone to represent these 140,000 constituents. Now, what that means is it could be that it opens up the door for Justin Jones and Justin Pearson to run for the seat again, if they are able to get the votes. And it could be either by a special election, or the county commissioner can reappoint someone for the seat. Now, depending on where the county commissioner is, and about the fact that Tennessee is a Republican-led state, folks are not holding their breath that the county commissioner will choose someone such as a Justin Pearson or a Justin Jones to represent those 140,000 constituents. And with the 2024 general election more than a year away, their districts are expected to hold these special elections. And so we will have to see how this thing play out. But I want to get your thoughts on all that has happened thus far, and then we're going to take and see what's going on. Let me go to Conscious Thoughts. You said, quote, Conscious Thought, expect snowball effect to occur from the expulsion of the 2 Black representatives in Tennessee. Other states will attempt to do the same. Yeah. There's going to be, there is a Conscious Thought. I'm not sure if you heard about this, brother, but there is some conversation right now that there is an attack on Black political leadership. Now, I know we've often talked about that in our circles and in our spaces, but now that we're starting to see it more and more, especially given the partisan culture that is in our country, that Black political leaders are on the chopping block for a lot of states. For a lot of states, the racism is so blatant, it's so obvious, it's so real that it's gotten to this point. So appreciate your thoughts on that, Conscious Thought. Janae, you checked in and said, look, I am now convinced if it wasn't for Gloria, the Justins would not have been able to speak for the 20 minutes, etc. She was the only one to bring a lawyer, which was probably due to white privilege. Okay, you're right. She's been speaking on their behalf, trying to make sure that she's advocating for them. But she already knows what it is at the end of the day. She already said it in an interview. She said it's all about white privilege. She already knows that if she wasn't white, she would have been expelled as well. Damon, my brother, thank you, Janae. Damon, you said, what's the point of an ethics committee if you're not going to use it? Bing bong. That's what I say, Damon. What's the point? You circumvent the ethics committee to do what you ever want to do. I don't know. That's a great question. Tiana, thank you, Brother Damon. Tiana, you said the House Speaker needs to be expelled for abuse of power. Absolutely. 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 The House Speaker should be expelled. You know, I mean, there are so many different parts of this that is just, it smells so bad because of the fact that it's underneath all of this is just pure outright hatred and racism for these two Black men. Just hatred and racism for these two Black men. So we could try to, what's the word I'm try to process it, try to pontificate on it. Guess what, folks? It's racism. We got to call it what it is. It's racism. Absolute racism. All right, look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, I want to get more of your thoughts. We're going to be bringing in Culture crew member Corinna Denise, get her take on this, and of course, continue to take your comments. So stay with us. We got a lot to cover here on The Culture, right here on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
We feel the hidden impacts of climate change that land harder in Black, brown, and Native communities.
Not many people talk about it because they clearly don't know our lives. But with President Biden's landmark infrastructure and climate plans, our issues are finally seen.
Removing lead pipes means we know our water is safe. Cutting carbon pollution helps our kids breathe easier. 1.5 million new jobs means stable work in communities. The impact we need.
Right now.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. Talking, of course, about what is happening down in Tennessee as two Black Tennessee lawmakers were officially expelled from the House of Representatives down in Tennessee, where the House has a supermajority of Republicans. These are two Black Democrats, former Representative Justin Jones of Nashville and former Representative Justin Pearson of Memphis. Both were expelled as a result of their participation in a protest for gun control and gun reform. Now, there was a third lawmaker that was a part of that protest, Representative Gloria Johnson, who is a white woman. However, guess what? She wasn't expelled, folks. So now it has created a huge controversy about what to do next, and more importantly, the state of democracy in the state of Tennessee. Robin, you checked in and said, I watched RMU, Roland Martin Unfiltered, last night. They are not ready for Justin J. Pearson. He spoke truth to power. He spoke of love for all. He made me proud to be a black woman. Prejudice was revealed. Let me just share with you, and I've listened to the brother. He is on point. I'm right there with you, Robin. I think this young brother, is doing some phenomenal things. I mean, he has been so politically conscious. He's awake of where he is and what he's doing. And I remember talking about him because of the whole dashiki not wearing the suit thing situation, and listening to him speak, it made me think like, man, this brother needs to be protected. This brother's going to have an X on his back. And sure enough, it only took this situation a few weeks after that situation happened. It only took this situation and they wanted to get rid of him. But the thing is, if you're living in the state of Tennessee, if you're living in those areas that were once represented by Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, black folks got to say something. You can't just allow that just to happen. And Brian Hall, you checked in and said they are afraid of these new young leaders. Absolutely. But guess what? These new young leaders got to be supported and protected. There's no reason to have all of this strength and all of this might and talk truth to power and all of that. And then when you get back home to black folks are saying, oh man, you shouldn't have done that. Or I don't think that was a good idea. Or black folks are not going to stand in solidarity with you. When our representatives truly represent us, then we need to stand in solidarity with them. That's just the case. That's just the fact of the matter. We can't talk about all of the other stuff unless we're willing to put ourselves out there to support those voices, those individuals, those young leaders who have the fearlessness of what we say that we wanted. Because I know sometimes how it gets. It's easy for us to talk about it, but then when you have people who exemplify that fearlessness, then guess what? That becomes a test and a trial for those who have been calling for that type of leadership to exist. So, okay, you got a young brother in a Justin of Pearson, young brother in Justin Jones. Now the question becomes, for Black Tennessee, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to get people out to vote? Are you going to call for a very special election so the county commissioner doesn't go into a space of having to reappoint someone without the voice of the people present? What is Black Tennessee going to do? All right, I want to bring my sister in, who is a college advisor. She's been working in the education space for years, and she's one of our great members of our online culture crew. We see her on Fridays, and I'm always happy to have her on. My sister, Corinna Denise. Corinna, what's happening, sister? How you feeling today?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's a good day to be Black, Corinna. It's a good day to be Black.
Well, this is always a good day to be Black.
There we go.
Every day.
There we go. Let's talk about this, Corinna. What's your take on what's all that has happened right now with these two Black lawmakers, and more importantly, how the state is trying to get this thing to die down? Because right now we see a lot of talk. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of people, quote unquote, angry.
Yeah.
But we've been down this road before, Corinna. Yeah. We've been down this road before to the point where we get this. I hate to use the term, but Chris Rock talked about selective outrage. but when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of a situation, when it comes down to organizing, getting people out to vote, making sure that representation stays in place, that's a different challenge for the community. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, I feel like today it's actually finally like settling in. I was just telling my mom that this morning, And I mean, last night, just watching everything, and I was tuned into Roland as well. And, just curious to see how the other news stations were reporting this. This was world news, breaking news. Everyone should be aware of what was happening. If you know someone who's not aware, we need to make sure we make them aware because this is so vital and important. Um, it's almost as if we're living a history book in real time, right? For those of us who've learned, some of our history or whatnot, these are things we would read when we were studying like the civil rights movements and different things happening and the racism and the prejudice, but to be living it in real time. And I'm just thinking like, some years from now, I might be having a story with some children or grandchildren, hopefully, and they're going to be asking, where was I when this was happening? It's not shocking though, but I really, really hope this is motivating for people to recognize, do you care about the thing now? Because honestly, Faraji, if we voted our actual numbers, you and I would not be sitting down right now on this Good Friday having this conversation to begin with. And
Absolutely. I agree.
a lot of us complain about the things that are going on, but there is some willful ignorance, some not so much ignorance. Some people just don't know how it connects to the vote. But think of all the people who are like, voting's not important. My vote don't count. All these things, multiply that by the thousands. If we actually just took one moment to collectively maximize the vote, we could make a difference. We probably have the things that we want. We probably have the things that we demand, and we probably have the things that we deserve. And also, we have to be aware that this is not just happening in Tennessee. I've heard many people say it like this is another blueprint for it to happen somewhere else. We see what's happening all here in the South. I know my state in particular, Florida, you see all these crazy things we got going on with the Satan. You got Hot Wheels in Texas. The list goes on and on and on. So it's not even just simple to say, oh, we'll pick up and move somewhere. Coming to a city near you, okay? This is like a coordinated activity across this entire country. And we are allowing the white minority to rule over the global majority. When are we going to wake the hell up and recognize our power so that this does not happen?
I mean, and I think that's the big question, right? Like, when do we wake up? When do we recognize our power? And when do we say enough is enough? And I'm in full agreement with you on that, because at this point, I think some of our people, Corinna, think that certain things, like certain elements of racism, is over. That this is 2023. I remember reading that Justin Jones from Nashville, he put out a message and said that the way these proceedings went down, how this whole situation went down, it was like we were back in 1963 and not 2023. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's interesting because I'm not necessarily shocked. Mm-hmm. This is Tennessee, folks. This is not like
it's not shocking.
I mean, this is Tennessee.
And look, even Governor, is it Tate Reeves over there in Mississippi? It's Confederate month. Like if I lived in Mississippi, I'd be pissed off. Like, who's raising the alarm? I feel like everything is just so connected between all of these states. And when you study history, like what happened before, during, and after the Civil War, it just makes sense what's happening present day. And I think because a lot of us don't know that intricate history, it's hard for us to put those pieces together. But when I took an in-depth look at history, oh my gosh, Faraji, it's like a light bulb just came on. It helped me understand what's going on present day in my state, locally, federally, okay? What's happening? Right. We need to study history and connect the dots because that's what they're using right now. They have their blueprint from their ancestors and they want to maintain power. They saw these two Black men who were actually voted in by their constituency, okay, progressive, and they just felt, you know what? Your ass isn't supposed to be here. So we're going to make it that you're not here. And they basically overturned the will of the people who put them in place. So they went in now to find all these rules. So now I'm kind of thinking, we make a little noise because children were murdered, people were murdered, and guns are excessive and a problem. I broke a house rule and now you're going to expel me. Oh, but the freaking federal people, Their key card still works after the damn insurrection on January 6, 2021. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, the list goes on and on and on. And it just makes me think, Faraji, to really take a deep dive to figure out what happens in the federal legislature. How does this connect? Because they get removed from committees, but no one's expelled. They didn't even have the vote. So I really want to find out more about that, because apparently it's okay to go into the Capitol, assault police officers, okay? People die, desecrate the Capitol, even urinate in the hallways of the Capitol, and that's okay.
Right.
No one's expelled. Everyone's still good to go. All the insurrectionists are making decisions that affect our very lives every day. But I think there's going to be more of this to come. So we need to be vigilant, and we really have a lot of work to do before 2024. God help us. I pray that people really wake up now and see, because this was blatant ass racism. I don't know what.
No, this ain't nothing else. This is good old Tennessee Southern racism at its best.
Faraji, do we need to actually put back up the damn white entrance, colored entrance for people to get?
No.
We shouldn't have to, but
we ain't going. Hey, Corinna, we ain't going back. That's dead. That's dead. That is dead. We ain't going back. Look, real quick, Linda, excuse me, you checked in and said these two people were voted in by their constituents. What can we do to fix what has happened? They should not get away with selling them and violating their civil rights.
Yeah.
We gotta look. Black Tennessee gotta rise up.
Absolutely.
Black Tennessee gotta rise up. Look, and Linda, everybody always asks the question, what can we do? What can we do? Black folks got to organize. You want to play like it's 1963? What did they do back in 1963? They organized. Black Tennessee got to rise up. If folks in Memphis and Nashville, black folks, and I'm sure many of us probably got family down there. If you got family down in Memphis and Nashville, first call them, let them know what the hell is going on. But then more importantly, say, look, man, are y'all getting involved? Are y'all doing something about this?
Yes. And how are you getting involved?
Like, we got to have conversations with our families. A lot of us come from the South. So, it's like we got to have these conversations. And a lot of black folks have moved to Nashville and Memphis as a result of the pandemic and whatnot. So Black Tennessee has to rise up and organize. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we're going to continue the conversation. The folks, continue my conversation with my sister, Corinna. Of course, I'm going to get you more of your comments. And let's continue to discuss what is going to be the next step for this whole situation. So stay with us. We got a lot to cover here on The Culture, right here on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We've been talking about the expulsion of 2 Black Tennessee lawmakers as a result of them making a big fuss about gun control and as a result of racism coming from the House of Representatives and the state legislature down in Tennessee, legislature that is Republican controlled and has a supermajority down there in that body of legislatures. Robin, you checked in and said, Farad, you want to read my shirt? All right, let me let you read the shirt. It says, I am African amazing. That's what this shirt says. Because I'm saying this, look, don't let anybody make you feel like your blackness is a punishment, folks. This ain't, and I saw Chris Big, you posted a comment, you were saying that this might not be a good day to be black for those 2 brothers of Justin Pierce and Justin Jones, those 2 Black lawmakers. Yeah, it's a good day. Yeah, it's a good day. I mean, yes, you lost the seat for now, but it's a good day to be black. Shit, last time I checked, we as black folks, we have gone through a lot. So losing some seats, that's child's play to us. We have gone through a lot, and we're still able to find our resolve, still able to bounce back, and most importantly, still be able to show the world that regardless of what you do to black folks, we are coming for that ass at every turn. We're not backing down. We are not backing down. And this is no racism or anything crazy. This is just to let you know the great spirit that lies within black folks in this country. And I'm saying to us, folks, that at this point, we see the tricks. We see the all the things that are put before us to derail us and to take us off track from where we're trying to go, to take us off track from being liberated, to take us off track from justice and equality. We already know this. But in 2023, if we just go along to get along, if we sit on the sidelines and not get involved, whose fault is it? Because guess what? The system ain't changed. People ain't changed. But guess what? If we allow this to continue to happen, time in and time out, the only outrage is what we see on social media. We talk amongst ourselves and not really use this as an opportunity to fuel for a movement, to really fuel the momentum. Then what are we doing? Let me bring my sister Corinna back into this. Corinna Denise, she's an educator. She's a college advisor, one of our great online culture crew members. Let me read what other folks are saying, Corinna, because folks are checking in. LaShonda, you say that you are actually from Memphis. You say, I'm from Memphis and I haven't heard about nothing happening, but I'm sure something is brewing. They are about to get all of that smoke. Trust. I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so. I hope Black Memphis is going to stand up, because we need something. See, folks I'm in LA, Corinna, you down in Florida. The thing about the movement is that we have to know how to organize and galvanize and tap into power wherever we are, right? Yes. And then once that power is generated locally, then it can spread out to a national space.
Exactly.
But that's how the movement is started. But if it don't start in Memphis, if it don't start in Nashville, then guess what? You can't expect people in LA to speak out against. I mean, it just don't work that way. It just doesn't work that way.
They have to take the lead. And last night, it was interesting to see. It was a lot of white folks in the Capitol. And I think too, that's something that's scaring these racists, right? Like the demographics are changing. And I think this is a signal, especially to our young people. It's time for them to rise up and get involved in our political process. 2 of the lawmakers that you elected, okay, were expelled. They're part of your generation. And it's always been the young people. We have to remember all of our ancestors, all of our civil rights leaders, they were young men and women when they were fighting on the front lines. So we have to educate our young people. We have to enlighten them. We have to inform them and encourage them to get involved in this process, because we're headed for peril. We're headed for danger. Like, every minute you got to be watching your back. Here in Florida, open carry just passed. It's going to take effect this summer. Okay.
Wow. Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
We're going to have to talk about that, Corinna. No, seriously, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm saying that's serious. We're going to have to talk about that. But go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like that's coming, the abortion, we went from 15 weeks was the Florida abortion law. That was what the Florida legislature opened up with last year and last year's legislative session. Now it's 6 weeks. I'm not surprised at all because the alarm sounded when Texas passed their 6-week abortion ban. It was just a matter of time. It's like everyone is they're bringing their little blueprint, right? Like I said, this is a coordinated activity. So I suspect that other GOP-led legislatures, they're going to find ways to expel members, and they're just waiting for you to bait them. Any little thing.
Look. Hey, Corinna, let's just say this. We know it's coming, so we will be foolish not to prepare for it.
Exactly. What are we going to do? We got to prepare. We got to prepare for battle. We are in a war. And I said this before on this show, like, just because there's no physical combat, that does not mean that we're not in a war. We won a couple of battles, but we're still at war, and we can't be defeated. We can't leave the field. We need to be there vigilant and ready and prepared, because now, I'm living in Florida. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm actually considering, I'm like, do I need to go learn how to shoot? Like, I don't want to consider that, but it's so scary. Like, one of my close friends and colleagues, she just lost her cousin to gun violence last week. There was a shooting like in my neighborhood, which never happens, but someone was just running through, things happen, and it's just every time you turn on the news, it's so depressing. And it's not that getting rid of like these assault rifles and things will actually altogether eliminate the situation, but it's going to definitely bring it down. Like, no one needs to have that kind of weapon, but all these things are tying in together because they want control. And now we have to be aware that even us, other people who might want to run for office, they're going to find other ways to take us out. These 2 Black Tennessee lawmakers, they got elected by their constituency, but I bet you from day one that damn GOP was like, how are we going to get their asses out of here? We're just going to wait for the moment.
Oh, no doubt. And look. Remember I said that when it was questioned to Representative Faison, he is again, folks, Representative Faison. If you don't know, check him out. He's the chair of the House Republican Caucus. How they was able to bypass the ethics committee. Look, folks. Look. Let me just. Let's keep this thing real.
Every kind of
Hey, Corinna, let's keep this thing real. See, we trying to play by the rules, and they're playing for keeps.
For keeps, there are no rules.
There are no rules, man.
And there is no moral path.
There are no rules. The only rule is whoever wins.
Exactly.
There are no rules. Like we be so caught up on the decorum of a situation, right?
My God. Yes.
We be caught up on like, no, there's a process. And it's like, I get all of that. But if a joker says, I don't care about ethics, I don't care about truth, I don't care about what you think or respecting your view. I don't like you, therefore I'm going to punish you. I'm going to make you suffer the consequences.
And they have shown us that over and over and over again. There is no moral plea with these people, okay? The Montgomery bus boycott did not end because they just felt, you know what, it's wrong. Black people shouldn't have to sit at the back of the bus. No, it's when Black people were like, all right, F y'all, we're going to walk our ass to work. And that happened for a year. And their pockets were hurting, okay? They understand green pieces of paper. That's what the hell they understand. And that's why the damn buses were desegregated. We need to start hitting them in the pockets. They don't understand any moral plea, any moral conscience. You could bring up Christianity and whatnot. I'm convinced at this point, their God is not my God, our God. Okay? It's completely different. There is no moral plea with these people. We have to be armored, okay? When they take a stand, we need to take an even higher stand, okay? They are calculated. They are planning and plotting forever and ever. GOP, their campaign has started for 2024 since before Donald Trump was kicked out of the damn White House, and Democrats are still dragging their feet. But we can't sit back as the people and wait for them to give us like this message that we just want to hear. We have to be smart. Right now, We need to be putting pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, to type up that email, to dial numbers, to pressure the White House, I think, in my view, to make sure that they're getting involved with these Black Tennessee lawmakers being expelled. Because this is going to be a domino effect across this nation. And we're seeing a revisitation of history, because this was all about supposedly states' rights, right? During the Civil War. No, it was about the wicked business of slavery, the South not wanting to concede, them not wanting to give that up. And we're kind of seeing that in many ways again. All of these draconian laws, Faraji. And it's just like, how long and for how far are we going to allow them to go to mess with our livelihoods when we literally have the power in our hands? We have to get off of our lazy ass and do something. If we collectively make the decision that we're going to vote their asses out and defeat them, because there's no pleading with them. There's no, please don't pass this law. They got super majorities. They're going to wield their power accordingly. And they have shown us that time and time again. Period.
Okay, absolutely. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward with more conversation, you talked about, Corinna, what the White House is going to do. I'm going to share with you what President Biden has already said about this situation, but he could actually do more. Folks, stay with us. That conversation will continue right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Table with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
We feel the hidden impacts of climate change that land harder in Black, Brown, and Native communities.
Not many people talk about it because they clearly don't know our lives. But with President Biden's landmark infrastructure and climate plans, our issues are finally seen.
Removing lead pipes means we know our water is safe. Cutting carbon pollution helps our kids breathe easier. 1.5 million new jobs means stable work in communities. The impact we need.
Right now.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We've been talking about the two expelled Black Tennessee lawmakers who were expelled yesterday as a result of their protest for gun control and gun reform. Let me bring my sister Corinna Denise back into the discussion. You talked about, Corinna, what the White House is going to do and how they're going to respond. A couple of things. One is Vice President Kamala Harris is she should be on the ground there in Tennessee as we speak. Because she wanted to visit Nashville to push for gun control and also to meet with the two Tennessee Democratic lawmakers who were expelled from the General Assembly. She plans to talk to them along with Representative Gloria Johnson of Knoxville, the third member of the Tennessee Three. She's also planning to try to ensure that young people on the ground who have been pushing for gun control, gun reform, is their voices are heard. But then she's also going to be meeting with the legislative Democratic caucus there in Tennessee about this latest action of the expulsion of the two lawmakers. So she's on the ground trying to figure out what to do, trying to keep the conversation around gun control. And I know that the president, I'm going to pull up some in a moment, the president had some words in response to what happened yesterday. So what do you make of that? Do you think that that's going to push the conversation a little bit further along? Because it sounds like she's more focused on making sure we have this conversation about gun control in spite of all of this other stuff. But what's your take on that?
Well, while I appreciate that, right, and I love Vice President Kamala Harris, I really hope that our president, Joseph Biden, will invite the Tennessee Three, as we now know them, including Rep. Gloria Johnson, to the White House, as Roland even suggested last night. And I hope that, President Biden doesn't just leave it to VP to go there on the ground. It's a little reminiscent for me. I think it was last summer or a couple of summers ago, I can't recall right now, when those Texas Democrats were in DC for maybe about a month and Joe Biden never met with them. And I just kept thinking, like, how powerful would it have been a moment in his presidency to have met with them, especially at such a critical moment when we were trying to push for that voting rights legislation. And I think, again, it kind of, it's not the same exact thing, but it kind of mirrors that. Something that's so important that's happening in this state with the two lawmakers. I think our president, and I'm not assuming, I don't know why or if he plans to meet with them, but I'm just simply saying, I hope that's on the agenda, because I think it's just as essentially important that he, as our leader, meets with them as well. Both him and Vice President Kamala Harris. Invite them to the White House. Let that be a signal to all of these other GOP legislators around the country that the White House is watching, they're involved, and they're concerned, and that they're going to be campaigning, right, and getting people elected. But this is the thing, Faraji.
Yeah.
I feel like, with these Democrats, again, and so many people always say this, and our good sis Tiffany Cross, I always heard her say this, dance with the folks who brought you to the party. And I think a lot of times they forget about that. And it's like they're elected, they're in office, and they kind of just veer away from the Black folks, right? And then they show up again when they so-called need us for elections, right? And then at the same time, we got to just be smart and recognize we're voting our interests. But in this critical moment, it is imperative, in my view, that our president of the United States of America, Joseph R. Biden, needs to meet with the Tennessee Three, as well as Vice President Kamala Harris.
I think he will. I think he will, Corinna. I think he will. He put out some words yesterday saying that today's expulsion of lawmakers who engaged in peaceful protest is shocking, undemocratic, and without precedent. Rather than debating the merits of the issue, these Republican lawmakers have chosen to punish, silence, and expel duly elected representatives of the people of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So I think a meeting with him is in the works, especially with Vice President Harris. I think there's a meeting with them. But see, again, I'm going back to this point. You got to fight fire with fire. Like, the Democrats can't meet while the Republicans are expelling. Mm-hmm. You got to fight fire with fire, man.
I think he should. And look, I'm not.
And look, I'm not saying that. Look, and I'm throwing this out there because I know here's something wild. What about Democratic controlled states where Democrats have a supermajority?
Yeah, they should also.
How about you start bringing a hammer? If you are a Democrat controlled state, you bring the hammer down on the Republicans in that state. I mean, because see, here's the thing. I'm tired. Personally, I'm tired of hearing about stories like this, right? Mm-hmm. I'm tired of hearing about stories like this, and then it's like we're trying to play by the rules. I mean, we can't keep playing by the rules, man.
I think the only way they break the rules, Faraji, is if we, the people, force their hand. So we got to be blowing up their office phone, writing letters, whatever we have to do to get.
Force whose hand? Force whose hand though?
I'm talking about like in the other, let's say, for example, like you brought to your point, you brought up the other Democratic-led legislatures around the country, like folks in those states, particularly organizing and mobilizing to, put pressure on them, because think how powerful it would have been if that Democratic caucus had remained united, right? In Tennessee with the lawmakers. Like, would the speaker have expelled all of them? Like, I wonder, I know that's like maybe a stretch, but I really do wonder for Raji, like if they had stayed united and was like, well, you know what? They didn't do anything wrong. They're speaking up for dead children who were murdered, people who are murdered, okay, with an epidemic that's happening in our state and across this country, quite frankly. And we're on their side, the side of righteousness, the side of goodness, what's right and what's just.
We can't go, look, Corinna, real quick before we take our next part. We can't go into any type of battle with an enemy who don't have morals and values and expect them to operate from a space of morals and values. We automatically have to just go into battle with an enemy and just say, you know what? Y'all are already shown your cards. You've shown your true colors. At this point, we know who you are. And you got to deal with the reality. And I think that's part of the reason why we're struggling.
Yeah.
Because we are still kind of going into these conversations or going into these spaces where, you know what, some of these Republicans don't give a damn about no gun control, man.
I think none of them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't, they don't care. They don't care about no family values. They don't give a damn. They don't care about people. They're just caring about lining their pockets, keeping power, and moving forward with their agenda. They don't give a damn about this stuff. And I mean, at this point, it's like, okay, when you deal with a joker that thinks that way, you can't operate the same way. You can't just be like, oh, okay, let's try to appeal to their moral sensibilities. No, I'm not trying to appeal to your moral sensibilities. You have none.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not suggesting that. I'm just saying that, like these Democratic legislatures, like they're slow to move things. I just feel like we have to lay the pressure on thick as their constituents to be like, look, it's not about whether or not you want to do the thing. You're going to do the thing because this is why we put you here. And if you're not going to do the thing that we put you here for, then we're going to fire you and put somebody else there who will. That's how we need to be. And once they start to see that from us collectively, they're going to move without hesitation. But they don't have any reason to move with urgency because we haven't showed them how urgent we are. We're not making it a priority to vote and to educate ourselves. Okay.
Hey, check this out. Maybe we should stop doing those things and do something really radical.
Ooh. What do you have in mind?
Maybe we should stop doing those things. Pauline, I say, Pauline, you checked in. You said we need heavy hitters on the ground in Tennessee. Enough is enough, right? We're going to get some heavy hitters. I'm sure you're going to hear from the likes of Reverend Al Sharpton or Reverend Jesse Jackson and others. Roland put out yesterday, I think it was, he was like, where's the NAACP? Where's the, where are the black organizations down in Tennessee, right? Where are they? But we got to do some radical stuff. Maybe, and I see a couple of crew members are saying, look, let's not support them financially. Let's talk about a boycott. Tiana, you brought this up. You say we also need to not vacation in Tennessee or go to concerts. We're talking about if this is going to be serious, let's hit them in the pockets. Let's explore some other options. It's not just about voting. That's every couple of years, every 4 years.
That's true too.
We need some action right now. Like the next concert y'all got, the next situation you got, we ain't going.
And what about the sports teams? Representative Jamal Bowen was on MSNBC last night saying, I would like to see the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not sure if they're a basketball team. I know there's some sort of sports team in Tennessee. Refuse to play. They have leverage and influence, right? We got to hit them in the pockets because, like I said earlier, green is the only language they understand. They understand money, but morality.
They understand money.
And asking for sympathy, they do not comprehend that whatsoever. So we need to be radical, as you said, Faraji.
Judge, you got to think radical. Lakeisha Wanamaker, you said two wrongs don't make it right, but I think now we have to fight dirty just like them. Nothing will get done for the people. I've seen so many Republicans say they don't care about poor people. Well, then at this point, if y'all don't care about poor people, why the hell should we care about y'all? Look, like maybe Tennessee needs to be that tipping point. There's a book by Malcolm Gladwell talking about the tipping point, right? There are moments or events that happen where it just becomes the tipping point, whether it's like what we see in the civil rights movement. There were major milestones, major moments, the killing of our little brother, what's the little brother? Emmett Till. Tipping points. There's got to be tipping points. We always be like, okay, this is bad, but this is not as bad. No, this is bad.
Yeah, and this is a tipping point that we can't afford to not capitalize on.
No, we can't. Because at the end of the day, we can't. How do you go back to sleep knowing that the people that are in control of certain elements of your life don't give a damn about you? How do you sleep? How do you sleep? How do you just go to sleep and be like, man, life is good. As long as I got my job, as long as I got my little 401k, as long as I got, bro, that could be taken tomorrow.
Everything important and vital to us in this life ties to politics and legislation in one way or the other. It's inevitable. It's undeniable.
It's absolutely inevitable. Look, I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we're going to switch gears a little bit because as this situation is brewing, there is another situation that's happening right now where Black employees no longer believe hard work will help them prosper. Well, damn. Well, damn. Look, we're going to have that conversation with my sister Corinna Denise, have it with Nira Muhammad, and of course with you. So stay with us. That conversation and a whole lot more is coming up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
We feel the hidden impacts of climate change that land harder in Black, Brown, and Native communities.
Not many people talk about it because they clearly don't know our lives. But with President Biden's landmark infrastructure and climate plans, our issues are finally seen.
Removing lead pipes means we know our water is safe. Cutting carbon pollution helps our kids breathe easier. 1.5 million new jobs means stable work in communities. The impact we need.
Right now.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Faraji Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. We want to switch gears from politics to now the workplace, as we even talked about with the situation down in Tennessee, how those two black lawmakers put themselves out there, tried to assert themselves and essentially be a true representative. They had came up against the wall. Well, guess what? That situation is indicative of where we're finding, according to a new report, where black folks across this country are finding themselves. There has been a new report to show that black employees no longer believe hard work will help them prosper. Take a look at this here, folks. According to a new finding from the Real Estate Witch Report, residents offered insight into their workforce outlook and related issues. Check out the numbers. Roughly 63% of black employees share they don't believe hard work will help them get ahead in corporate America. According to Black Enterprise, they point out an analysis of the data. Traditionally, workers of color have had to work twice as hard to get half as far. This is according to clever real estate content writer Jamie Seal, who shared with the outlet. That's not only discouraging, but it can lead to more stress and burnout, leading to quiet quitting as a result. So we got political upheaval and challenges, and then you don't even think that your hard work at your job may lead you to the life that you want to live. Damn. All right, let me bring in my culture crew members again. I got my sister, Corinna Denise, who's a college admissions and an educator, and I'm also joined by my sister, my homie from down under, what am I talking about? Nir Muhammad, host of Queen Talks with Nir Muhammad podcast. She is an aspiring director of television, and she's a writer, and she is an educator as well. Nir, dear, good afternoon. How are you?
What's up?
Let's talk a little bit about this latest report coming out of this Real Estate Witch Report, saying that black employees no longer believe hard work will help them prosper. Nira, is this surprising to you?
No, I literally just told you that the Manifest Queen that I listened to, beautiful sister, that I just so happen to like follow on social media. She literally just made a post about hard work. She was like, "That what is hard work? Who wants to work hard? How does that even sound good? Even if you do what you love every single day, it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard work. It should be fulfilling work. You know what I mean? Like, who gets up and like, whether you work hard today, you know, like, no one, like, that doesn't even sound appeasing." And I agree. I think that as black and brown people all over, it's not fair that we have to feel like we have to work so hard just to get a little piece of the pie. And, you know, Tom over here can just come in and do whatever the hell he wants, and he got the big salary and the perks. No, I'm sick of it. And I think we should be pushing back on that.
Should we? We should be pushing back. Corinna, you know, when we talk about pushing back on this, because this goes against a cultural thing, right? Like our parents, I would say our grandparents more so than our parents, right? Depending on when you were born. But our grandparents, they always instilled the principle that if you want to get ahead, that you got to work hard, pull up your bootstraps, you gotta apply yourself and all of those things. And I'm sure this is the same stuff that we teach, and both of you are educators. So Corinna, you know, this is stuff we teach our children from when they were born. If you want to get ahead, you got to work hard. If you go into any space, you got to show you're the best that you're. But this is starting to show us that regardless of how much you apply yourself, regardless to how well you do, that goalpost is constantly moving. And after a certain point, black folks will be like, look, dog, you know what? Look, I can't, we're never going to make it. We're never going to close the wealth gap. We're never going to close the power gap. Black women in particular won't break through the glass ceiling. So there could be some downfall. There could be some very serious consequential side effects of us kind of like saying, we're not going to get there. What's your take on that?
You know, it reminds me of that scene in A Different World where Dwayne Wayne was teaching his kids in his calculus class, and he's like, I'm hard on you guys, and it's not that, you know, you work hard and everything, and it's not that because you're not intelligent and you're not educated, but they're always going to look down on you simply because you're black. Like, that's what's standing out. So it's like, no matter how hard we work, no matter how hard we try, you know, because we have this melanin, that's always held against us, unfortunately. So it's like
you can't outwork your blackness, Corinna.
No. And even though we instill it in our children, as educators, like work hard, which we should, it's like you still have to prepare them with the reality, but we're still in this world where there's white supremacy. And how do you navigate that despite working hard? And you do become despondent, because I am familiar with nepotism. Folks in positions who have no business being there, they get the promotion. They didn't work as hard as you did. To Nero's point, Tom can easily take a vacation. There's not going to be any pushback. Well, why are you putting in the time now? And no, you can't do this and that. It's just that it's a lot easier. And it's so unfortunate. So people start to become despondent. Like, I've put in all this time, all this effort, and I'm not even seeing the fruits of my labor. I have people that I know tell me, like, when she was in law school and she actually got a position at a firm, and she's a little Black woman, but she's a little bit more fair skinned. Her colleague basically says, so you know why you got the job, right? Because you're like, a certain kind of melanin. And she was like, well, damn, I thought it was because of my skill set and, what I bring to the table. That's what we've had to face, quite frankly. And it's unfortunate and it's sad. And it's kind of like, how do we still keep up our spirits in spite of, maybe we need more entrepreneurs. But even sometimes getting into that door, it's like everything's just a challenge.
Can I just say the whole entrepreneur dream? I do not tell people go out and be an entrepreneur, because that is one of the hardest things that you could possibly do.
Wait a minute, hold on.
I'm not saying you can't be an entrepreneur. I'm saying you need to have a plan. What do you want to do? What are your skills? And personally, as a teacher, I don't teach my students to work hard. I tell my students to put in the best effort. I try to set the bar high. It's not about working hard. I want you to enjoy learning, because the moment you put the word hard in it, you've already lost half your class. So don't go tell your students, we got to work hard, because you're going to lose half your class. You got to I like to think of it like I trick them into learning. I want you to enjoy the process of learning. I want you to feel enlightened. I want you to feel like you're adding something to the conversation. If you feel like all you're doing is hard work, it takes the joy out of it. We just got to change our language sometimes.
Yeah.
So right now, like, given where the culture is as it relates to productivity, upward mobility, and where we are in terms of just the idea of work in this country, especially among the next generation of Black folks, when you got YouTube creators and influencers on TikTok who are making, good amount of money for very little time. The idea of hard work just doesn't fit for them. You know what I'm saying? For this next generation of 19, 20-year-olds who was looking at it and saying, well, why should I punch a clock for 40 hours a day? 40 hours a week, when I could just put something up on a social media platform and get a whole bunch of views for doing something real silly, real crazy, real wild, and I can start building my bank that way. Like, there has to be a happy medium between those two realities, right there.
Yo, absolutely. I think that's really hard to do anyway. It's so easy to be like, you know what? I'm going to become an influencer. But that's not easy work either. To a certain degree, it seems easy, but it's like, how many people have said they wanted to do that and it completely flopped? I feel like it's just like becoming the next big star. Like, you do have to put in a lot of effort. I'm not going to say hard work. I'm going to say to put in a lot of effort. Yeah. You have to have some sort of skill or talent in order to even break through. You got to have some sort of following. You have to have some type of persistence and consistency. So if you can't even be consistent with that, it's still not going to work out for you. You have to put in some consistency. You have to put in time. You have to make sure you have the right camera. You got to have the right angles. There's so many other things that come along with even being a YouTuber. Anybody can start a YouTube channel. But how are you going to draw people to your channel? It's the same thing with being an entrepreneur. You want to start a business. Okay, what is your business? Who is your consumer base? How are you going to get customers? How are you going to get your clientele? How are you going to get that clientele to keep coming back? So there's still so much that comes with that. There's so many other skills that come with that than just saying, you know what? I'm going to be an influencer. Okay, well, what's your plan? You got to have a plan.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Michelle, you checked in. Michelle Ray, you said my motto is to work smarter, not harder. This social structure comes.
Absolutely.
Say it again.
I say
I say it all
absolutely.
the time.
Right.
Yep.
We all say it.
Yep.
That's true.
We all say it.
Efficiency. Be efficient. Why am I'm not
Right.
taking the long route, buddy?
Exactly.
No. Them days are over. This social structure comes with conditional freedom along with anti-blackness undertones.
Can you elaborate on that? Because exactly what do they mean by that? I'm curious.
Michelle, elaborate. We would love to hear from you. Make sure you post your thoughts on that. I think that's a great point. Robin, you checked in and said, remember this, the last will be first. Get ready. Look at the Black entrepreneurs. That is the plan that God has for his people, to work for yourself. It's in the word.
Yes, but you got to have a plan. Don't quit your job with no plan, buddy.
Yeah. You got to be smart about how you're going to,
build your clientele up. You know what I mean? Before you just jump out there. Like, I am not saying don't have a business. I'm just saying when you have a family or a roof over you, like, if you have that luxury to just kind of like be at home and, you don't have to pay any bills, you can do that. But a lot of people don't have that luxury, especially when you look at inflation, the cost of food, the cost of living is going up, and it's going up in a scary way. And the money that we're getting is not trickling in as quickly as the inflation is coming at us. So be smart, be strategic. That's all I'm saying. But definitely follow your dreams.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And go ahead, Coretta.
I think Tanera's point, something that really stuck out to me just now, sis, was when you were saying is how we say things, like our language, because I think when we're very specific to say work, consistently, put forth your best effort, that essentially is defining what it means to work hard. And I think if you're really passionate about something, then the effort's going to be effortless, right? You're going to actually love and enjoy what you're doing. So, I'm going to take a moment back and reframe and say, rather than just entrepreneurs, I think maybe just to be self-employed and run our own business, but it shouldn't be just anything to be in business. It needs to be something that you're passionate about. Absolutely. So that you're going to make the best effort and that your business will be successful. But yeah, you got to have a plan. But I'm thinking now, I don't too much want to work for other folks anymore. You want to be your own boss and set your own hours and not have to deal with this nonsense of being passed over.
Right. And here's the thing, though. Like, when somebody, it's funny because Nira and I, we always have this conversation about entrepreneurs, but somebody got to work for somebody. Yeah. Like, we all can't
need a
be
team.
entrepreneurs.
You need a team. Even when you become entrepreneur, who are you going to
Nira and I, we talk about this all the time. Doctors got to work for somebody. Lawyers, yes, you can have your own law firm, but I think we should be very balanced in giving out the advice to this, especially to the next generation. But
and like you said, Raji, if you have your own law firm, who's going to help you run it?
You got to have law
by yourself.
Paralegals.
Lamar Jackson, he's a football player. You need an agent, buddy. You can't do it all.
You can't do it all, man.
You got to learn how to stay in your lane, bro. Everyone has a lane. You got to stay in it. And to be fair, as I can tell you, being an entrepreneur is hard as hell. And you got to be on top of yourself. Because, and a lot of people, can you really relegate yourself? Mm-hmm. Can you ensure
that's true
on the top of your head that you're going to meet your own deadlines? Can you handle when those clients and that money is drying up a little bit, or when you took out a job? I mean, I know I've done paint parties that took me a month to get paid. I'm waiting on a month to get paid $6,000. You got to get through that month and make sure that you have what you need to sustain you until you get that next payment. So there's a lot that comes with being an entrepreneur. Don't think that you don't want to quote unquote work hard, so now you want to be an entrepreneur, because guess what, baby, it's going to be a lot of ups and downs with becoming an entrepreneur. It's going to be good and bad days, and you got to be able to ride that wave when you're in that low so that you can get back up to your high.
Hey, look, if you don't want to work hard, don't be an entrepreneur.
It's so you're gonna cry some days.
Hey, look, I'm being dead ass serious. If you don't want to work hard, don't be an entrepreneur. You might as well start your job.
Well, anything worth having is worth working hard for, right?
You don't have set hours.
You don't have no set hours, and you don't have no guaranteed paycheck. You can play that talk about I don't want to work hard, I'm gonna work for myself. Then you ain't gonna have nothing. Because entrepreneurship is like the hardest job that you can work.
Lord, it is. It really is.
My father's an entrepreneur. I've been surrounded by entrepreneurs. That is not easy. So, you know, if you're tired of the social construct, if you're tired of white supremacy, if you're tired of sexism and misogyny and racism, I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
But
I get it
trust and
too.
believe, you best to know that if you want to break out of that, man, if you're going to, I tell people all the time, because I'm like, look, I don't mind working for people. People are like, man, you working for Roland? Like, yeah, why not? Like, I mean, he's a black man, you got a great network. Why wouldn't I work for him? You should be doing stuff for yourself. I hear you, but guess what? My time is valuable.
Yeah.
You don't have no time for yourself when you're an entrepreneur. Your brain
really
is always on, your time is always spent, but guess what? You ain't getting no raise. You're not experiencing racism.
I want us to try. I want to try to get rid of that word hard when it comes to work. I really do. Like, I really want us to like try to stop saying hard, because we don't want hard is not. We like some things hard, but not all.
So put forth your best effort. That's the word right now that you said.
I gotta get y'all off now. Y'all getting real crazy. Look, I gotta take a quick pause. Always, I gotta take a quick pause. We're gonna switch gears from talking about things that are challenging to talking about Chloe Baily. Folks, she deleted her Twitter. She is one half of the group, Chloe and Haley, but she decided to delete her Twitter because she found out that it was a space of negativity and it was causing her to change who she was. So we're going to have the conversation about social media and self-imagery. Stay with us. That conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Now, we know that social media can be a space where we have conversations about all of the happenings of the world. It can also be a space where we can really have some fruitful discussions about things that are important to us, but it can mainly become a space where a lot of negativity runs rampant. And this is something that Chloe Baily, this is one of the, who serves as half of the R&B singing group, Chloe and Halle. Chloe Baily is the sister of Halle Baily, and Halle is, of course, the one that is going to be playing in this year's Little Mermaid. Chloe, her sister, has decided that enough was enough of her social media, at least for Twitter, by deleting her Twitter account, because she said in a recent article, in a recent conversation, she said, when you see me tweeting, it's because I'll say to my team, oh, tweet this for me. Or I'll be like, send me any viral tweets or anything you think I should respond to, or, you know, I want to send it my way because you know I won't see it. But she also said that I love all social media and I love Twitter as well, but that's where you can see all the negative things about you directly in your face. She said, if I see my name trending, I click it and see a whole plethora of negative tweets about myself. I don't need to do that to myself. And she goes on to say this, folks, and Kina, let's do the second quote on this. She said, while she can laugh in some instances, Baily says she isn't entirely immune to the effects of constant negative comments online, which has taken a toll on how she saw herself. She said, quote, I feel that when you continue to be fed the same thing, you'll start to believe it. She said, and I started changing myself based off what I thought people's opinions were of me, and that's not okay. Wow, wow, wow. All right, I want to bring in my culture crew for the day, Corinna Denise, Nero Muhammad. Ladies, when we're talking about social media defining how you see yourself, this is an ongoing thing. We see, especially a lot of you Black women who are in, you know, positions, high-profile positions, actresses, entertainers, you know, sports figures. They kind of go through this moment. Of course, last time we talked about Black China, aka Angela White, deciding that she was going to kind of redefine herself, remove her fillers and all of that. She was going to get back to her authentic self. But I'm seeing a trend near around this that Black women in particular are saying, you know what, these spaces and this constant criticism about who I should be, how I should present myself to the world has taken a toll on me, and I need to walk away from this. What do you make of this? Is this going to be like a larger movement in your thinking, or do you feel like this is just another Hollywood entertainer just trying to get some more news for herself? I mean, what do you think is really happening here?
I mean, if you look at the suicide rate amongst young people, and since social media has become what it is today, you can clearly see that we have a lot of issues based on social media. I don't even think it's just celebrities. I think it's women, men in general. How many brothers do you see with the workout videos every single day? And, you know, everyone wants to be somebody. Everybody wants the likes. And if you don't get the likes, then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm ugly or I'm fat, or, you know, no one likes me, or no one saw my outfit. Everything is about being seen and about being accepted. And I think that social media is to blame for that. There was a time when, you know, before social media, how did we know? How did everyone know what you look like or what you wore or where you got your clothes from, unless you face to face saw them? I think that social media has caused a lot of problems. And I really, I stand with Chloe in finally standing up and saying, you know what? I can recognize that I've changed myself. So for her to even come out and say that, I think that takes a really big step for her. And I think that that's very inspiring for other women and other girls to be like, you know what? Well, dang, I think I might be trying to change myself too, because I want a certain amount of likes. I want to portray a certain persona or a certain image of myself. And I'm not saying that that's everyone on social media, but I am saying that it's become a big, big problem with a lot of women. I mean, we have had a much larger trend of women getting work done on their bodies because of social media. Everyone wants to look like Kim Kardashian. Everyone wants to look like an IG model. And I mean, it's in songs, it's in rap songs. I literally, one of my favorite rap songs, she's like, look like an IG model. Like, what does an IG model look like? And you look at her picture and she has this fake butt, fake breasts, and you're like, oh, this is what an IG model looks like. This is what I need to aspire to look like, because if I don't look like this, then who's gonna want me?
But here's the funny part about that, to that point, and to the point that Nira made, Corinna, she deleted Twitter, not her Instagram.
Yeah, because people are nasty on Twitter.
You know what? I stand with Chloe too. Look, I am all about the self-care. Okay. And if that's what she felt that she needed to do, I don't know what the difference is really between how she navigates Twitter or Instagram. Maybe Instagram is not, a space where she's dealing with as much negativity. I would imagine with her celebrity and, her brand and everything. And this day and age, it looks like you need to have social media. I come from a time where I remember it didn't even exist. And I remember when it used to be so fun and lighthearted, and now it seems like social media has morphed into the place where you go to get validation.
Yeah.
Like you're so obsessed, like as soon as you post that picture, like, oh my gosh, who liked it, who loved it, why is that become so important? And it just draws you in. And I say this a lot, I really think that social media has done more harm than good. It's just like this breathing pool for negativity, and you're subjected to everyone's opinion if you make the choice to engage in it. And that can be, really, really, you can feel defeated sometimes. I mean, at least what I see what other people have shared, if you're constantly subjecting yourself to those negative comments, it's almost like opening Pandora's box per se. And you got to have tough skin to know how to navigate that space. I myself, I'm not as active on social media as I used to be. I mean, I've even had folks get mad at me because I don't respond to DMs or something like that in a timely manner. And I'm kind of like, well, if you really wanted to get in touch with me, like there's other ways that you can. I'm sorry. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I'm just not that active on the social media. But I mean, to your point, Faraji, I don't really know why she deleted the Twitter instead of the Instagram. Nara said Twitter is, a little bit more harsh, but maybe it was a tug of war. Like, I can't delete everything because of my brand. Maybe it's that too. Who knows? Maybe she wants to get rid of it altogether. But now we've kind of moved on to a space that if you want to have businesses or get your product or your brand out there or whatever it is that you do, it's like social media has become so essential per se. And it's unfortunate, but you know what? I'm all for the self-care. So if that's what she needed to do, I'm all for it.
I've seen her Instagram, Faraji, and I feel like on her Instagram, she gets shown like a lot of love. And I think some of the attention could be perceived as negative if you look at it like guys being on there, like saying like things that can be a little bit inappropriate. Like from what I've seen from her IG, but I see like a lot of fire comments, like beautiful, go ahead, queen. And I feel like when I'm on Twitter, I just see a lot of like, why do you show this or why do you do? Yeah, it's super, super judgy. I told you I am not a fan of Twitter. I don't like Twitter. Twitter to me is like a dark hole that I just like don't personally like to go down. It's like Alice in Wonderland. It's like you just see everyone's opinions because it's just words. Whereas I feel like on Instagram, it's more of a validation and like more of a positive light. Some of the things are more acceptable on Instagram to me. I feel like it's just totally different viewpoints and personality traits that you get from Twitter versus Instagram. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm wondering if we're going to, like, for the sake of the culture at this point, like, how do we add some sort of balance to all of this negativity? And I mean, will it require us to walk away? I mean, for example, as much as we see the damaging effects of social media, people aren't really logging off. I think people are, and we can kind of talk a little bit about this as well. I mean, now we're in a space where Twitter and Instagram both are offering you to pay, you can pay a monthly fee to get a blue check or to get verified on their spaces. And so people aren't logging off. People are actually holding on to this, right? And I feel like there's this tug of war. Like, we can have this love-hate relationship with social media, but then at the same time, it's like you do want to be validated. You do want to be verified. You do want to be able to garner all of this attention to whatever you have to say or whatever pictures you posted or anything like that. So it's like this tug of war thing that's happening there that I just feel like, we can say, oh, social media is shaping girls' view of themselves. Oh, look at the body imagery, blah, blah, blah. But tell a young black woman or a black woman who is very confident in her skin, right? Tell her to get off social media.
I think that a lot of people do take breaks. And I mean, I know personally I do. Sometimes I'll delete the app off my phone. I don't like delete my entire account, but I'll just like delete the apps off of my phone just to kind of give myself that detox. And I see a lot of people doing it because I can tell my little friends list, like the number goes up and down. I'm like, oh, did I lose followers? And then like the next day it'll shoot kind of back up a little bit. And I think that's because people are like, you know what, let me just go ahead and put my phone on do not disturb in a way, like I'm just gonna take a little detox from social media. And of course, that's not everyone, but you have to be able to self-regulate yourself, and that is what Chloe is doing. And I think that's why I love it, because she's showing that we have the power to self-regulate ourselves. If you know that something is being toxic for you and that you need a break from it, take that break. You owe that to yourself. You don't owe anybody on social media anything, but you do owe it to yourself to say, you know what, this is unhealthy for me at this given time. Let me take a break, step away, and then come back.
I like that. I like that point. I like that point that, if you can regulate yourself, you don't owe no one anything. Because I think it's interesting, because Nira and I had this conversation as well, Corinna, about the fact that, and I'm just speaking from a man looking outward, looking at this situation. I think men in particular feel like they have agency to you or access to you, because if you show a part of yourself that they feel like, oh no, well then that belongs to me. And it's like this very weird space. It don't have to be nothing crazy. It could just be you smiling, walking down the street or something. But there's this kind of access that I think that, particularly when it comes to men and women, that men feel like, you know what, oh, okay, so if she's showing this part of herself, if she wants to put this on display, then she must mean that she wants it, that she wants to, that level of interaction. And I think that's the slippery slope that we're talking about sliding down. What's your take?
Yeah, I really, that word just came to mind as you were talking, Faraji, access. Like, as soon as you put a picture up or something, like, where did that come from that all of a sudden you feel like you have access to, I guess, what I'm showing you in a picture? That doesn't mean you get automatic access and you can just hit me in the DM or whatever, right? And I can only imagine, like, especially with celebrities, like on the platform that Chloe has, I'm sure those DMs are crazy. Like insane, right? And I would imagine like her notifications are silenced, so her phone's not ding 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 with everything that's constantly popping up in the inbox. But maybe for her, she also had to delete Twitter, because you also do have the temptation to see what folks are saying about you, and maybe she just couldn't resist that temptation. So in order to have a detox and a self-cleanse, she's like, you know what, I need to just delete this altogether so that I don't subject myself to the negativity. Because if I don't, and I keep the app on there, or I keep my Twitter account open, I'm gonna feel the need every once in a while to just go on there and look. And then next thing I'm in my feelings because I saw something that maybe I didn't need to go and look for. But yeah, to your point, Faraji, it's like a lot of men do feel like they have access. I guess once you're posting certain pictures, and that's interesting to me, because I really wonder, like, where did that come from, really, that we feel like we have such access, I think, in general, to folks, because social media has created a space where you're sharing so much. But some of those pictures too, just on a side note, aren't even real. I've seen folks like literally take like a half an hour to post this one picture, and like you could see the picture, but behind the scenes, I'm like, if you only knew all the antics that went into posting that one picture. Like, Instagram is not even what it was designed to be anymore. Insta, meaning you just taking a shot in the moment and posting it right there. It's literally where you curate your little photo shoot.
It's so polished. Yes.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
There's a lot of effort that goes into it.
That's a great point.
I genuinely
we got 30 seconds there. What's your take on that? On having access to
I miss like the old part of being on social media, where it was like you got to meet with your friends, where y'all got to share, where it was like a family-based thing. Now it's like your business, it's like ads, it's like it's all about money. likes and like trying to, and again, that validation, that access. I know one thing, I'm tired of the DPs. Oh my God. I'm so tired of DPs in my DM. Fellas, come on with the unsolicited DPs. Can we just stop? Just because you see a woman that you're attracted to does not mean she wants a DP. I am so sorry. That is not going to get you a woman of substance. That might work for some women, but you got to look at the whole picture. Don't just look at one picture. You got to look at the whole picture, because I think a lot of people do post a lot of who they are on their social media, a lot of their work, what they like, the type of food they like to eat. Stop looking at people like they're one-dimensional. I think that's a big problem too with social media. If a woman posts one bikini picture, you're like, oh, she wants it. It's like women, like, we're not that one-dimensional. We can be sexual beings and still be educated, still be lovers of art and culture. Like, stop thinking that people are just one-dimensional. I just want to throw that out there.
That's a great point. That's a great point. All right, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we got trends posting doing the most. So stay with us. More right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home. You dig?
All right, folks, let's talk about what's trending, what's posting, who's posting, and who is doing the most. All right, here's what's trending right now, and let's bring in our culture crew, Corinna and Nira. First and foremost, Chris Rock is still getting the last laugh. This looks like to be the case as his comedy special, Selective Outrage, becomes Nielsen's most streamed comedy special in a measurement week. In his first full week on Netflix, his comedy special Selective Outrage, it earned the title of most streamed comedy special from March 6th to March 12th. The special jumped 48% over its opening weekend viewership to 798 million viewing minutes, putting it at number 9 on Nielsen's overall streaming charts for the week. It outperformed Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones for that title, surpassing that special's previous record of 573 million viewing minutes in a week. And it also made it the top 4 most streamed comedy special for the previous measurement week, despite just over 24 hours of availability. The special was carried on Netflix on Saturday evening of that interval, drawing 418 million viewing minutes. Nira, what's your take on it? Selective Outrage, the comedy special Chris did from our hometown of Baltimore. He's still walking away with something. He might get the last laugh.
I don't think he gets the last laugh. If anything, if I was Will, I would be like, "You're welcome. I helped your career." And no, I will not be watching it because I'm too Baltimore for that. And I think that was just so disrespectful to come and do that in my hometown. So I'm not a fan of Chris Rock. I will not be watching. And if I was Will, I'd be like, "You're welcome. I revived your career, bro. I revived your career. You can eat off of me for a little bit, but guess what? Will was always going to get the last laugh because he has more talent. That's just my opinion."
Ouch. Corinna, what's your take on that? He's a New Yorker. He's a Brooklynite.
I'm a naturalized Brooklynite, but still, once it's in you, it doesn't leave. So BK forever. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know. Is it really a competition between the two of them at this point? Like, who gets the last?
Wait. Hold on, Corinna. When you work in TV, you put your whole grievance out there on a Netflix special. You're damn right, it's a competition. It's about them dollars and those minutes, okay?
Yeah. So it's like we went from the Oscar stage to the Netflix stage. I happened to be home that Saturday night watching it live. So I don't know. I guess who's to say? I wonder if it's gonna just end here with this special. Is he gonna continue this comedy or with this into other specials? Maybe not. It's just, man, it's just, I feel like it's just something that's just gonna linger. Like it's just there.
I think it's done. I think it's done. The special everybody is talking about now is Monique's new special, which I've heard. I haven't watched it. People are saying it's not that strong.
It's not good.
The special, My Name is Monique. They said they can't get past the cursing. They say, like, people say, like, I curse, but she really curse.
Hold up, Friday. I gotta throw this out here real quick. Chris Rock's net worth is $60 million. Will's is $350 million. Go ahead, eat, little man. Go ahead, eat. Go ahead, eat.
I don't know if we could compare though, because Will is like a big movie star.
That's my point. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. That's why I feel like he's always gonna get the last laugh because he's timeless. Like Chris Rock has like a small following compared to.
I'm seeing this. Hey, Corinne, this is how Baltimore women just come back into.
You can't come to my city and be disrespectful, bro.
Take your little Netflix special. Your little Netflix. Your Netflix is little.
Okay,
Big Billy for nothing.
Everybody hates.
They call me Big Willie.
And I love that show though. I'm not gonna front. I love me some Everybody Hates Chris, but it's not like father. Terry Crews is my guy in that show. Oh my gosh, I love that show.
Friday, y'all. Friday. All right, final piece that's trending right now. According to a new report, Sean Diddy Combs has to pay the superstar Sting $5,000 every day for life for sampling.
Every day for life.
Y'all remember the song back in 1997? Diddy wrote the hit track "I'll Be Missing You" after his friend Notorious B.I.G. was fatally shot. He used to "Every breath I take." Well, guess what? He never asked for permission to use the sample from Sting's group, The Police, and from their 1983 song. So as a result of that, he has to pay Sting $5,000 a day. Sting went on to the Breakfast Club and said, "Oh, Diddy is paying me $2,000." Diddy said, "No, Sting, I'm paying you $5,000 a day." Let me just share that with y'all real quick on how much that is. If they were, you're talking about $1.8 million a year for just using a man's sample.
But why did they take so long though to ask?
Like 25 years. I was a kid. Like,
why did they wait so long to request this money? Like we're
not talking about like 5 years, 10 years, 25 years.
Their money dried up, so they were like, you know what?
$5,000 a day. $5,000 a day for a song clearance.
I guess that's Ciroc or whatever.
Matter of fact, how much Diddy is giving his ladies every month? You know, is Carisha gonna still get her allowance every month? You know? That's the question. Babe, is this affecting my allowance?
It's gonna come somewhere. I think from that revolt, that Ciroc. Is Sean John still around? Love you.
You know, I gotta bring something out to vote.
Coretta, who is wearing
sweatsuits back? We bringing the little sweatsuits
back. Bad boy.
Oh my God. I'm done with y'all.
Diddy.
I'm done with y'all. Hey,
he was happy back then when he made the song. Now Diddy got to pay.
Diddy got to pay $5,000. And this is real, folks.
Didn't pay for.
This is not a joke. He's paying $5,000 a day to use somebody else.
Sting was like, "I'm about to sting that ass. I got you, bro."
Well, I mean, you should know that.
I'm done. I gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. All right, Coretta Denise, thank you so much. Nir Muhammad, appreciate you. Y'all can check out Nir on her podcast, Queen Talks with Nir Muhammad. You can follow her on all her social media platforms. And guess what, folks? She might not return your DMs. All right.
I'm not.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being so good for the culture today. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for tuning in. I want to thank all of you for the fantastic conversations we've been having over this past week. Make sure you support us here at Black Star Network. Go to blackstarnetwork.com. Download the app for free, stream and share the content. But most importantly, give something as we continue to establish this Black digital space. So go to blackstarnetwork.com. Also follow me, yours truly, Faraji Muhammad, on Twitter at Faraji. And I'm also on Instagram at The Real Faraji as well. Stay tuned. Up next is RMU. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk on Monday for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Have a great weekend and peace.